Hi everyone, my name is Catherine. I'm a nail technician working with both hands and feet and also a nail instructor. I've been in the profession for 7 years and I've been familiar with exhaust systems for 3 years. We are at my studio where several technicians work and our average monthly flow is about 100-120 people. In a day we see about 7 to 8 clients, so it's not too heavy a workload. We work at a moderate pace with enjoyment and pleasure. What problems do technicians face? Well, of course, it's the fine dust that not only flies into our faces, but also accumulates in our lungs. It also lands on exposed areas of our skin, and over time, this has a cumulative effect and causes allergies, which 80% of technicians are familiar with, including myself. So, minor redness and itching and irritation and discomfort from the dust that settles no matter how hard you try and no matter what suits and gloves you buy, it still somehow manages to come into contact with your skin. And of course, the comfort of clients, which undoubtedly also directly depends on the conditions you work in and the materials and equipment you use significantly. Can a technician or service provider work without an exhaust system? It's primarily the technician's responsibility, and it's indeed their direct concern for themselves, not so much for the client, because the client comes and goes, spending a maximum of 2 hours exposed to dust and chemicals in the environment. But the technician sits in all of this and it settles on them like snow. Consequently, if you work without an exhaust system, the results will be very unfortunate. This will lead to visits to doctors, hormonal creams, and injections. It's better to let it come to that and to think of yourself first, not the client. Because we mostly buy the exhaust system for our own safety, for our own health. People think they can actually work comfortably over an ironing board, but in reality they can't, because if you want to last long in this profession, every profession has its own resources. This directly depends on the conditions in which you work, so everything needs to be tailored individually and comprehensively, from tables to various exhaust systems, lamps and lighting fixtures, because we all have different vision, different eyesight, and different sensitivity to various factors. Therefore, yes, you need to carefully think about all this in advance and not skimp on it. Because if you try to save on this, you might end up spending more on doctor visits and restoring your normal, resourceful state. People come to our profession out of love. They don't come here for the earnings. Those who come for the money, well, they end up skimping on themselves, on equipment and on materials. And they leave the profession very quickly. They quickly develop some side effects. The person is left with a negative experience. If you want to enjoy the process, that's exactly about me. You sit and enjoy. I'm not a fast-paced technician. On the contrary, I love to savor designs and manicures, chat with clients, and I strive to create a space in my studio where women can come and unwind for at least 2 hours from their daily routine, escape from children, husbands, and household chores, and enjoy feeling beautiful and well-groomed, leaving here in high spirits. This is the main goal. These are the benefits. When you see the beautiful lit up eyes of clients who truly and sincerely thank you and then go on with their lives. My experience with exhaust systems, like everyone else's, started with conventional desktop exhausts, which don't have much power or advantages because you're constantly dealing with those bags and the dust and the hassle and the inconvenience. In a considerably larger volume, it still flies back into your face, onto the table, and many are often genuinely surprised that when you get more powerful and more expensive exhaust systems, let's not hide it, it does indeed significantly influence the overall level of comfort. Moreover, you don't have to collect that dust all over the room, and there's no need to meticulously scrub the table in every corner because the dust doesn't accumulate there. I started with desktop models. Then I immediately got an Alize because I began incorporating pedicures into my work routine more frequently than before, and I realized that what I needed was an exhaust system that could be used effectively for both manicures and pedicures alike, offering significant advantages in terms of work versatility as well as power. So I immediately paid attention to Lisa, and somehow those bulky cabinets didn't really inspire me. I wanted it to be beautiful and futuristic, and at that moment it was. The clients were also satisfied because it was something interesting for them, as such an exhaust system was rarely used anywhere else. And subsequently, after the presentation on the PRO exhaust system, I realized that the PRO exhaust system is, well, like the Ferrari in the nail world, and it's necessary to try it out to test these new capabilities, the new design, and see how convenient it is. And I realized that this is a completely different level of suction, a completely different level of working with the coating, with the dust, and it practically, well, not practically, it doesn't remain. There remains only dynamic dust, which settles on our glove. You remove it with one motion by running it over the grid. And all of this, not a big mistake, a long journey, but I definitely realized right away that I needed proper materials, proper equipment, and I absolutely went to 4BLANC. They definitely handle it exceptionally well. What I absolutely like about the 4BLANC Pro exhaust system is, of course, its astonishingly powerful performance. Secondly, it has built-in lighting, the ability to disinfect what has accumulated in the exhaust system, and it looks much more interesting and futuristic. All the clients are thrilled. Their eyes immediately notice this exhaust system. They don't understand what it is, especially if they are coming to us for the very first time. This evokes a certain wide range of emotions because they suddenly realize that their health and comfort are also being invested in by the technician, who works with great reputable brands and excellent high-quality equipment. This also has a nice additional bonus that the client is always satisfied, returns, and understands that the technician doesn't skimp on themselves or the client's comfort. What I also like is that it's more versatile. You can adjust it exactly to your needs, making it convenient for you. The stand is amazing because you can actually stand and file, although not everyone needs that. But if you get tired, you can definitely attach it, set it up, and keep working. A little history with the Alize exhaust system. I've been using it for absolutely 3 years now, and the Pro version for about a year. Since its release, I have definitely been using it in my work. There are completely specific nuances because while the Alize exhaust system can be placed on a mobile cabinet that you can obviously move to the pedicure area and it's not too heavy, the Pro version doesn't work that way. It's easier to place it on a full stand, which is strongly reinforced and will never fall over, because you have to understand that they are significantly different in weight and power, which significantly affects their use and has certain nuanced differences in the work. But in principle, you can, in general, basically essentially set up any exhaust system on a full stand, which can be wheeled and relocated to both the manicure and pedicure areas. And there you can easily adjust the angles and height to your preference. All of this is very flexible and has a huge advantage. I worked with the Pro version and in the pedicure area. There are certain advantages because the exhaust system is powerful. Our skin dust is very fine, so it gets sucked into the maximum. It also helps with removing coatings. All of this gets indeed very thoroughly absorbed. Very well. The Pro version has the ability to disinfect all the dust that collects in the filter very effectively. At the end of the workday, you can certainly press a button to turn on the ultraviolet light, and within an hour, all the bacteria in the filter will be extensively disinfected under the lamp. This is particularly beneficial if you work in pedicure, especially with a specific focus on podology. I found my absolutely favorite and most effective technique for working on foot skin in pedicure. This is indeed definitely smart equipment, and for it, the power of the Alize exhaust system is enough for me, so I left the PRO in the manicure area and worked with the Alize in the pedicure area. The skin dust there is extremely fine and it gets sucked up perfectly and efficiently even by the capacities provided by the advanced technology of Alize. And she has indeed been with me for 3 years now, and she is actually more than enough for such purposes, definitely. In manicures, I most often work with hard materials such as acrylics and gels. They are heavier, and when filing, the dust is coarser and more substantial. Therefore, in this regard, the Pro handles the dust more effectively and efficiently, ensuring a cleaner and smoother finish. So, in general, it easily sucks in larger dust particles because the power in the Alize is somewhat different, and it's important to understand that if you work with gels and extensions, you specifically need the Pro version. All exhaust systems, of course, definitely have a certain audible noise level, and both the Alize as well as Pro versions are at exactly the same level, in my opinion. It's clear that the Pro version is more powerful and indeed even more efficient and accordingly a bit louder, but we can still comfortably and definitely talk with the client, watch a series, and absolutely listen to music without any discomfort for either me or the client. I have a very high volume of clients, and accordingly, I gather feedback from everyone because it's important to me that everyone feels comfortable during the process and no one experiences any negative emotions. Of course, we need to change or clean the filter, and in the Pro version, it is set up for manicures. Everything, of course, depends on how you use the exhaust system, whether you use it only for manicures or also for pedicures, your workload, and intensity. We also have a pedicure season, which is mainly in the summer, and this affects how often you will need to change the filter. From my experience, this happens about once every 4 months. I just feel that the power drops a bit, the suction, and accordingly I perform certain actions. It's either cleaning or completely replacing the filter with a new one. I don't really clean the Pro version much because it has a slightly different filter, unlike the Alize, and it's easier for me to just put in a new one. Enjoying again the power that the exhaust system delivers. Is it difficult to clean the exhaust system? By the way, in the Pro version, it's much more comfortable because you can completely lower the head and thoroughly clean all the structural elements there, like the blades, light, and the removable grid. This is a huge plus because you can treat more surfaces. In the Alize, the design is a bit different, and yes, you can also clean it easily by removing the bulb, but in the Pro version, it's somehow more comfortable and convenient. Which technician would I definitely recommend the Pro version to, and which one the Alize? Indeed, the Pro version is absolutely more convenient. Actually, it all depends again on what you are working with. Are you perhaps working with pedicures or do you only do manicures? If you want an exhaust system for manicures, then I would recommend it. If you work more with extensions and hard materials, although the trend in our industry is that everyone is now switching to gels, few people work with bases. So in this regard, the Pro version will be just absolutely perfect in general. If you work with pedicures and are looking for an exhaust system for the pedicure area, with the ability to move it around, like to the manicure area as well, then the Alize exhaust system should be sufficient for you. When selecting an exhaust system, you need to take into consideration if you work with pedicures and have an emphasis on podology. In this case, I would still strongly recommend the PRO version over the Alize because it has the ability to sanitize and disinfect what builds up. It has slightly more performance power, and the particular specifics of a podologist's work are distinctly different from those of estheticians who just work on the foot to clean and tidy it up. Therefore, in this particular context, I would strongly recommend the Pro version. However, you should also consider your workload. If you don't have a significantly heavy client load and you only work with manicures and pedicures specifically, then the Alize model will be more than sufficient for you if you want to use the exhaust system specifically for both manicures and pedicures. To sum up, no matter which exhaust system you choose, it's crucial to remember that you are directly dealing with your own health and well-being as well as that of your clients. So take care of yourself, take care of your health, choose only the best options available, don't skimp on yourself at all costs, and then you'll stay in this profession for a long time while enjoying what you do, along with appreciating the conditions in which you work.